Good morning. It is 9:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners. You get those at betterwater.com. You can listen to the show anywhere. iHeart, tune in the FM dial. You can watch us as well. Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble. Hit the subscribe button. We appreciate you helping us grow the digital footprint of the radio station. If only we had something to talk about today. It's going to be a slow news day, apparently. Nothing going on. Also, is it just me? Or is this camera way closer than it used to be? Is it super close?
No, it's a lot closer than it used to be.
Okay. Is it awkward on YouTube?
Just a little bit.
All right, perfect.
A little more personal.
Well, jump over there on YouTube if you want to see how awkwardly close this camera is. All right, but the big story today, Iran. Everybody knows it. That's what we're going to be discussing. I would love to get your instant reaction. And I've heard Murphy do this from time to time where he doesn't add any input from himself. He just wants to get your general reaction. And I would love to open up the phone lines for you. What do you think about the operation over the weekend? Do you love it? Do you hate it? 615-737-9986. I'll give you about a minute of airtime. You can make your opinion known, and I won't add or interject or do anything. I'll just let you have the floor. I'd love to get the temperature of everyday Americans and Tennesseans on what they're thinking about the operation that took place over the weekend. Donald Trump called it one of the most consequential operations ever, making him one of the most consequential commanders-in-chief of all times. We did lose 3 service members, and I think that's probably a good place to start. Let's pray for those families. Let's pray for those soldiers. It's up to 4 now. Excuse me, my error. Let's pray for those family members, and let's hope that the Lord can wrap them up in comfort and in some peace as they go through this. I mean, I can't imagine what it's like as a mother or father or wife or husband to get the phone call that you knew was lingering out there that could be coming your way, but you hoped it never came, and you received that phone call, and I can't imagine the grief and the heartache and just the emptiness that phone call leaves. So please join me in praying for those families, and pray for them often. Pray for them often. 4 U.S. service members killed. 4 continue to be seriously wounded as part of Operation Epic Fury. Several others sustained minor shrapnel injuries, concussions. They're in the process of being returned to duty. Major combat operations continue, and the response effort is ongoing. Situation's fluid. So even to this day, 100% fluid situation. They're withholding the information on the families, on the soldiers, until all of the families have been notified. I think they usually give 24 hours after next of kin have been notified before they identify our fallen warriors. So we'll keep you updated. I'm sure those names will be coming out, I would imagine today or tomorrow. But pray for them in the meantime. 615-737-9986 is the phone number to connect with the show and let us know what you think about the operation. Donald Trump, he went to the TV and he delivered a message. It wasn't incredibly long, but it was heard, and the message was received. Even in Iran, they actually hacked the TVs in Iran to air this message, which I thought was just a wild move, and it does show you the stunning capabilities that the military has when they're able to hack the televisions inside Iran. It's crazy. This was Donald Trump and part of his message.
Over the past 36 hours, the United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of literally minutes. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. This wretched and vile man had the blood of hundreds and even thousands of Americans on his hands and was responsible for the slaughter of countless thousands of innocent people all across many countries.
Now, when I heard that news, much like you, it was like, whoa. No tiptoeing around, huh? Like, you guys had an opportunity to negotiate. You missed the window, and now you are wherever you prayed to be, I guess. I don't know. The conflict is ongoing. Targets are being attacked inside Lebanon right now. CNN was reporting 31 dead, and this situation is just ongoing in the Middle East. But I want to get your instant reaction to it, 615-737-9986. Let's go to Jack in Dixon. What's up, Jack? How are you?
What's up, man?
Instant reaction on what you saw over the weekend.
Well, I was just doom scrolling kind of, and I was just noticing, it's kind of funny how the liberals, I guess you could say, are protesting this. I mean, we can clearly all see for ourselves that the Iranian people are celebrating, jumping with joy. And over here in America, we got a bunch of idiots standing around mad because we took out the most heinous killer in the entire world, pretty much. I mean, in current days, and these people are protesting this. I mean, what world are we living in? What's it going to take for people to wake up and see that the Democrats hate America? They hate us.
Yeah, and I appreciate the call, Jack. It does seem eerily reminiscent to the protests that we saw after Maduro was captured, doesn't it? Where you have the Orange Man bad contingency out there in the streets, and then you have others who are from the country celebrating this. And we saw the pro operation rallies everywhere across the country, from New York City to L.A. as well. But the opposition protests, I don't know if you noticed this, but I picked this up. It seems like they were strung together relatively quickly, because some of them, especially in New York City, half of them had brand new signs that said, no new wars. And then the others had signs that said, ICE must go. Were they paid protests? I don't know. I'm just asking questions. Let's go to Joe in Lafayette. What's up, Joe? How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Good morning. I'm all for this ordeal that's going on. I was kind of surprised that Trump waited as long as he did, and this should have been done a long, long time ago.
Are you worried about any ramifications after the fact? Are you worried about sleeper cells in America? Are you worried about terrorist attacks in America? It seems like the entire world is on high alert for that today.
From being sedentary for hours after school, immersed in the VR
I don't know where
world.
that's coming from.
I don't know where it is. I'm not worried about it. I expected a little bit of it, or maybe a lot of it. I don't know. But like I say, this should have been done a long, long time ago.
Well, I appreciate the call, Joe. Let's go to Dave in Smyrna. What's up, Dave?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good. Give me your thoughts.
Well, I think it's long overdue. I think getting Soleimani during Trump 1.0 was a good start, but I think they've been degraded to the point where, now I think was obviously the time to move, and I think they've drastically miscalculated by launching missiles at every other Gulf state in the region. I mean, the fact that these other Gulf states are all Sunni and they're the only Shia majority country, they definitely did not do themselves any favors by doing that. And I think they stepped on the rake, so to speak, and I think that's probably the most brilliant miscalculation they could have possibly made.
Yeah, I love the way you put it. They stepped on the rake. Yeah, they 100% did, and I appreciate the call, Dave. Let's go to Bobby. Bobby, you're up next on Super Talk. Bobby in Nashville. What's up, man?
Hey, Chris. President Trump did a wonderful thing going over there in 2017 and forming a relationship with all those Arab countries. And Iran, I guess they thought all the Arab countries was going to stick with them. But, if you think about it, all those countries was really wanting this to happen some time ago. They was just in fear of speaking up. But, brother, I'm for it 100%. I hope they keep pounding and pounding, and hopefully the Iranian people they'll have a better way of life, man.
Yeah, I'm with you, Bobby, and pray for peace, and let's hope that goes that way. Let's go to Dean in Burns. What's up, Dean? How are you?
I'm good, Chris. I was a little torn at first about for or against this, and after I watched the news and saw those Iranian people crying and just in tears of joy, it made it all worthwhile. I believe in it 100% now, just for those people, because we live in America and we get to do what we want to do every day. And can you imagine living in a country like that to where you can't even walk down the street in fear for your life? And we're just so blessed to be Americans, man. Everybody needs to come together and just get all this crap over with. Get together and let's make this country just something that's never been before.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dean, and I appreciate the call. Funny that Dean says that the thing that changed his mind was seeing the Persian people crying tears for joy, because many of the mainstream media outlets didn't even want to share that with you. There's a viral video going around where there's a local beat reporter from CBS Austin, and he's out on the streets, and you can hear him going back and forth with his camera guy, and the camera guy says they don't want us to focus on this, as the reporter is standing in front of a massive rally of Iranians, Persian people, as they're celebrating the death of the Ayatollah. And, you can hear the cameraman say, they don't want us to cover this. And the local reporter for CBS Austin goes, all right, well, I am. Deal with it. The mainstream media didn't want you to see those celebrations, that visceral reaction of the Iranian people here in America. But some outlets showed it. And this reporter from CBS Austin, absolutely fearless, defying his superiors and saying, no, we're going to cover this whether they like it or not. He's looking at his phone. So he looks at his phone and he goes, what does that mean? He's reading it. And he said, you hear the cameraman say, it means they don't want us to focus on this. And he says, well, I am. Yeah, this is newsworthy. And people from Iran, Persian people, were celebrating the death of the Ayatollah. Let's go to Carl in the borough. Carl, how are you, man?
Chris, thank you for taking my call. I just want to say November 4th of 1979, I was in senior high school at Bellevue High School in Nashville. And I remember this, and Dateline started, and I was mad, and I was thinking, when are we going to do something? And then the Marines died in the attempt to go in there to get them. And all these, I just want to say this, we've been, guys my age, and I've looked online, and apparently we're all thinking the same thing, we've been waiting 46 years or 47. And I'm so happy. I will say this, I realize that the people, the ones that took over the embassy were the modern day Antifa, Hamas supporting people in the United States, except they weren't white like they are here. So what we've got to deal with is just, we know adults are in charge. I was just thinking about all the presidents I've lived through. George W. Bush could have done this. Bill Clinton, the military didn't like him, because I talked to military guys. But it took Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been around. He's older than us. He's been watching this stuff, and he's like, you know what? This is my last time in office. I'm taking care of this because they all kicked the can down. So I just want to say this: that they're into containment. Donald Trump is for victory, and I am telling you, God bless America. I'm actually happy. I feel very patriotic, and I have never met a cruel Iranian. They've always been nice, because I've met several in my life in the United States. And God bless them, and they're going to love us. They already do. You can see it on the celebrations.
Yep.
I just want to say, one last thing, if I can say this. I realize that a lot of young people, and I discovered this online, making comments on the news sites, they're saying that we did this because of Israel. These are the anti-Semitic types, and they're out there, and what it is we just have to smile, and we have to defeat them with knowledge and kindness, and then let them go off and be a cesspool of hostilities in their own brains. But this is freedom. This is changing. I think this is epically changing the entire world. what Donald Trump and the great military did.
Yeah, I'm with you, Carl, and I appreciate the call. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the conversation. A lot of the conversation online has been saying that Donald Trump has turned his back on his campaign promises, the no new wars. But if you look back far enough, in the lead up to 2016, Donald Trump was saying Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. That Donald Trump has said over and over and over again, I want peace with Iran, but they can't have a nuclear weapon. Donald Trump tried to negotiate with the leadership that was in Iran. They chose not to negotiate. That was a bad choice for them, clearly.
Last night, all over Iran, the voices of the Iranian people could be heard cheering and celebrating in the streets when his death was announced. The entire military command is gone as well, and many of them want to surrender into saving their lives. They want immunity. They're calling by the thousands. Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. We have very strong objectives. They could have done something 2 weeks ago, but they just couldn't get there.
Donald Trump says everything is going to continue at this time. That was Donald Trump over the weekend in the immediate aftermath of the attack on Iran. I don't think that anybody's going to be able to judge this today. We are going to need time and space and hindsight to be able to give this a full assessment on whether or not it was the right move militarily or not. As of today, it looks pretty good. But where does this go in the next few weeks? Where does this go in the next few months? And what does this look like a year down the road? That's when we're going to know whether or not this military operation was a total success or not. This is not something that we're going to be able to judge overnight. If we were judging it overnight, it looks pretty solid. We got more on the way from Donald Trump. I'm going to bring you the highlights from Pete Hegseth's press conference this morning, and I'll take more of your phone calls at 615-737-9986. I would love to talk to somebody that thinks that this was the bad move, and not even to argue with you. I'm just curious where you guys stand. 615-737-9986. It's 9:23. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Up ahead, what the Pentagon is saying this morning about the conflict in Iran. The Pentagon holding a press conference early today. That's coming up here at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. As I'm digging through the text line, 615-737-9986. One thing that keeps popping it up is how nervous this makes people when it comes to sleeper cells and terrorist attacks. Listen, I'm with you. I think that keeping your head on a swivel is the right thing to do. Hardening up soft targets is the right thing to do, and paying attention. I mean, this is going to be a big deal. We saw what happened in Austin, Texas over the weekend. That was a terrorist attack. The guy comes in with a sweatshirt on that says Allah. He's wearing an Iranian flag shirt underneath him. Was he part of a bigger cell, or was he a lone wolf? It looks more right now like it was lone wolf, but I'm waiting for that to start. And I think that we all understand what time it is. If you haven't trained with a firearm, I would suggest that you go to the Glock store and get some training in. I think that it's good for everyone, whether or not anything happens or not. I think it's just a good skill to have in your back pocket or in your holster. But I would suggest that. We'll talk a little bit more about the threat of terrorist attacks on the way. We'll take more of your phone calls as well, 615-737-9986. And I'll bring you all the highlights from that press conference with Hegseth and Raising Cane when we return. It's 9:31. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Morning, I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Well, the Pentagon holding a press conference earlier this morning, updating Americans on the conflict in Iran. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth announcing a fourth member of the military was killed, someone who had been severely injured initially in Kuwait, then had succumbed to his injuries. Now, we also said that the U.S. tried through good faith efforts to get Iran to agree that it would not attempt to rebuild its nuclear facilities that were destroyed by the U.S. in June.
Tehran was not negotiating. They were stalling, buying time to reload their missile stockpiles and restart their nuclear ambitions. Their goal, hold us hostage, threatening to strike our forces. Well, President Trump doesn't play those games. And as Secretary Rubio said after the Maduro raid, if you don't know, now you know.
Also happening this morning, 3 U.S. fighter jets were shot down overnight, and we learned that this was a mistake. Friendly fire by Kuwait's defense apparatus. All 3 pilots and 3 co-pilots were able to parachute to safety. The fighting in the Middle East could affect the cost of gasoline here in the U.S.
Iran is threatening to close the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most important choke points for the commodity. 20% of the world's oil passes through this waterway, and Reuters reports that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard is radioing ships in the area to say that no ship is allowed to pass. And some tankers in the region that we've been following have seemed to turn around. Iran has made this threat before to close the strait, but has never successfully done so. Either way, some disruption of oil exports is expected.
That's ABC's Andrew Dimbert there. Meantime, the death toll in Karachi, Pakistan from a violent weekend protest has reached 25. Many of them were protesters who tried smashing their way into the U.S. consulate. Our Marines fought back, killing at least 10 and injured at least 70 others. There is a 3-day curfew right now in Karachi. That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
As the seasons change, it's time to completely... Sorry. If you've got hard surfaces like tile or hardwood, let our professional team work.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. If you're dealing with back pain, neck pain, sciatica, herniated or bulging discs, spinal stenosis, or even numbness and weakness in your arms, legs, fingers, toes, you don't have to live that way, and you can get back to a pain-free life today with my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. They are the first and only office in the state of Tennessee with a brand new device called the HydroWave. This technology is stimulating your very own stem cells for healing at the cellular level. You pair that with non-surgical spinal decompression, which is 47% off right now, and this is not your average therapy. We're talking robotic lasers, anti-gravity machines, cryotherapy, plus the HydroWave. You are going to get back to a pain-free life, and you're not going to be getting back to it with opioids, painful injections, or surgeries. This is why Dr. Mitchell needs to be your doctor. You got to grab your MRI. They'll take x-rays if needed. He'll walk you through exactly what's happening and give you a real treatment plan to fix the problem. A pain-free life is within reach, but it starts with a phone call. 615-246-5009. That's the number for the Wellness Institute, 615-246-5009. Or you can always book online at painisbad.com. That's painisbad.com.
Hand Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Duty and the burden of a free people. These actions are right and they are necessary to ensure that Americans will never have to face a radical, bloodthirsty terrorist regime armed with nuclear weapons and lots of threats. For almost 50 years, these wicked extremists have been attacking the United States while chanting the slogan, "Death to America" or "Death to Israel," or both. They are the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. We are the world's greatest and most powerful nation, so we can do something about what they do. These intolerable threats will not continue any longer. I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, and police to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. It will be certain death. Won't be pretty. I call upon all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country.
That was President Trump over the weekend in his post-Operation Epic Fury statements. I say post, but the operation is still ongoing. In fact, Donald Trump moments ago telling CNN the largest wave is yet to come. It's 9:40. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. One of the things that makes me feel like we're not going to see boots on the ground is that call that he made right there at the end of the clip we just played, where he asked the Iranian people to be brave, be bold, and take back their country.
To seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country.
It's in your hands now. At least that's how I took it. Maybe you took it a different way. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. That was broadcasted all over Iran, by the way. Iranian TV was reportedly hacked to show President Trump calling on the Iranian people to rise up and take back their country. We had, was it 4 B-2 bombers dropping dozens of 2,000-pound bombs on Iran, flying thousands of miles straight from America. Saudi Arabia is vowing a swift, overwhelming military response if Iran continues their retaliatory strikes. This is a wild development.
Back to that breaking news just into CNN about Saudi Arabia. It says that it is prepared to respond if Iran continues its retaliatory attacks. CNN international diplomatic editor Nick Robertson joins us now. What have you learned, Nick?
Yeah, this is a really new and big step by the Crown Prince here to authorize the possibility of Saudi response if Iran attacks Saudi Arabia again. He called their attacks yesterday and in the early hours of today cowardly. He said that these attacks by Iran were cowardly because Iran knew, the Crown Prince said, Iran knew that Saudi airspace was not being used to attack Iran, and this has incensed him. There have been attacks around the capital here that have been intercepted. There was an attack near a military airfield in the north of the country. There have been attacks further east, much closer to the Persian Gulf, much closer to Iran. They've been repelled so far, but the Crown Prince has said that because of Iran's actions, he is putting the country, Saudi Arabia's security first, the safety of its territory, the safety of its citizens, the safety of its residents. He's putting those things first, and for that reason, he says, he is authorizing the right and the military here to respond if they are attacked by Iran. And
I mean, just wild developments, and it just was coming all weekend long. United States, several countries in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, they issued a joint statement strongly condemning Iran's indiscriminate and reckless missile and drone attacks. It does seem like Iran doesn't really know which way to aim at this point, right? All of their military leadership has been taken out. The supreme leader has been taken out. And it seems like you got a bunch of guys on there going, I don't know, should we shoot this way? Okay, let's shoot this way. In a press release from the Department of State, the U.S., Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates explained the unjustified strikes targeted sovereign territory and also endangered civilians. The statement from the countries comes as Iran has launched missiles and drones at several of its neighbors in neighboring countries in response to the U.S. and Israel launching a joint strike targeting Iran's missiles. The United States, Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates strongly condemn the Islamic Republic of Iran's indiscriminate and reckless missile and drone attacks against sovereign territories across the region, including Bahrain, Iraq, including Iraqi Kurdistan region, Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. These unjustified strikes targeted sovereign territory, endangered civilian populations, and damaged civilian infrastructure. Breitbart News' Francis Martel reported that as of Sunday night, Iran had launched missiles and drones at 7 of its neighbors, saying that they went at Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Bahrain. The Emirati Ministry of Defense on Saturday announced that Iran had bombed the country with hundreds of missiles and drones, which had been largely intercepted, but shrapnel falling in civilian areas killed at least one person. So it seems like it's essentially not just the U.S. and Israel, it's all of the Middle East against Iran currently. Taking your phone calls at 615-737-9986. PJ in Nashville is Iranian. PJ, how long have you been in the States?
First, I need to apologize for my voice. I've been celebrating a little too hard and drinking a little harder.
Okay.
So lost my voice, yeah. I moved to the United States in 98.
Okay.
And we escaped Iran in 95. We lived in India for 2 years prior to coming to the States. And my parents are both minority religion. My dad is a Zoroastrian, which is like the original religion of Iran. And my mom is a Baha'i who converted from Zoroastrianism. So we were prosecuted. I remember my dad coming from work one day late and not talking to my mom, and then my mom crying. And then I later walked into the room, seeing my dad's back that had lash marks on it because he wouldn't convert to Islam. I remember my grandfather coming from work. He used to go spend the summer times at my grandfather's town. They had a nice pomegranate garden, big house, and he bought that with his hard work. He had a lot of land, my grandfather, prior to the revolution. They confiscated all of that. And I'm talking about, in today's money, millions of dollars confiscated just because he wouldn't convert. I remember my grandfather coming home. Again, he had torture marks on his back with hot irons that they would try to make him convert to Islam. This religion is not the religion of peace. And a lot of people make the mistake of making Khomeini and Khamenei sound like the same people. They're not. They're two different individuals. Khomeini was the first, the supreme leader. Khamenei is his, the second one that he chose. Khomeini was like the god to these fanatic Muslims. Khamenei is like their chosen prophet. So a lot of people don't get it. These sleeper cells are not just Iranians avenging their leader. It could be any fanatic Muslim that's grieving right now. So they need to be careful. And what I really want to warn people about is how this Khomeini guy came into power. Iran had everything, right? We just didn't have some basic stuff free, like electricity, water. And this guy did what Memdani is doing today. He promised Iranians free everything. And then he took power, and then he killed 40,000 people on his first year, I think, executed thousands, tens of thousands of people. And people are letting these animals in the country. It worries me. It worries my parents. Like my parents are saying, we are seeing the same thing repeat. We're seeing history repeat itself just because people are, I guess, got short-term memory. They don't remember 2001. I remember it. I was on the Brooklyn Bridge. I remember that plane hitting the second one because at the first one I didn't see, and we were in shock, and we were crying, and people in Iran were lighting candles. They were grieving with us. So Iranians love Americans, and this regime is not Iranian. Like Arakchi, the guy who does the negotiating, his last name is Arakchi in Farsi, and that means he was born. He's Iraqi. Most of these guys are not even Iranian descendants. They're like, their parents are born in like Arabic countries and they were brought in. They have no loyalty to Iranians. They're using Iranians the same way Hamas does with Palestinians. They build their army centers next to schools and hospitals. A couple of schools that got shot in Iran that they're saying America did it, they didn't. There are videos on Instagram. My family members send me videos that shows the rockets being shot near the school go up. Either it malfunctions and they just aim for the school and it comes down and just blows the school up. So these people are evil, and I'm so glad that my president, the only person I ever voted for, I didn't vote for Trump the first term, embarrassingly, but this last one was the first time I ever voted for him, and I'm so glad and I feel so proud because I feel like I had a small part in what's happening right now.
Absolutely.
So Iranian people are happy.
Let me ask you real quick. How old were you when you and your family fled Iran?
So I was about, I don't exactly remember, but I remember after coming to the United States, I tried to go to school after 6 months, and I was 17 years old. And they said, you're too old. I had just turned 17.
Okay, so your memories of Iran are pretty vivid then at that point. You weren't 5 or 6 getting out of there.
So I was a Zoroastrian, and I would attend a Sunday school that was just for Zoroastrians. They would teach us Avesta, which is our holy book. I'm not religious, by the way, but this is what was going on at the time. So I wouldn't attend the Quran classes in school because I wasn't a Muslim, and I got beat up by my teachers, like almost weekly. They would make fun of me. They would insult my parents' religion. They would call me dirty. They would call me najis, which is like, I don't want to say the wrong thing on the radio, but and najis is something that you feel nasty touching. Like
It's a slur, yeah. It's a type
yeah,
of slur.
it's like a nasty thing you see on the road.
Are you
So they would call us
connected?
that.
Are you connected with a larger Persian Iranian community here in America?
Yes. So in Nashville, we have a lot of Persians, and if you go to, I think the park is called Edwin Warner Park. It's at the end of Hickory Hollow Parkway. I think it's in the Belmead area, right next to Franklin. So Persians gather there every Sunday. Like a lot of Persians like to go out picnicking. So Sundays are usually the days that we don't work, and they go there. And trust me, like 80% of Persians want this regime gone. 80% of them don't even, like my wife, I married my wife who was in Iran when I met her, and I brought her here. She, by name, she goes, like, she's a Muslim, but she hates Islam. Like 80% of people in Iran are called Muslim, but they don't even think they're Muslims because they don't identify. But if they say they're not Muslim, they kill them. So what choice do you have?
With
you know?
with your intimate knowledge of the country and the people, what happens next? Is this going to create a power vacuum, or is this going to create a situation where the people rise up and take back the country?
To be honest, I have a small fear of being a power vacuum just because there are small groups of people that want different things than the majority does. But at the same, like, there's a lady called Maryam Rajabi, and they're called, I don't know what the English version would be, but they're like communists pretty much. And these people are dangerous. She wears a hijab. So anytime you see somebody talking, advocating for regime change with a hijab on, don't trust them. They're not representing us. The majority of people in Iran want what we have here in the United States. They want a free. They want a country that doesn't mix religion and politics. They don't want to be forced to wear a hijab. They don't want to be forced to not hold their
Islam isn't a religion. Islam is a political
Islam
system.
Is not a religion.
It is a political system disguised as a religion. It masquerades.
Islam is not a religion. Their prophet was a pedo.
Yep.
In my opinion.
No. That's not an opinion. He married. He married like a 6-year-old, right?
They're marrying 9-year-olds in Iran right now. These bastards are marrying 9-year-olds right now. They're worried about the Epstein files, which it sucks. It's a nasty thing that's come out, and they're not releasing everything. I get it, but these pro-Palestine SOBs are ignoring the fact that Epstein is happening on a daily basis in Iran, legally, and they're supporting it. Like me, I don't know what I would do to someone if I see somebody trying to marry a 9-year-old. But these people are like calling it righteous, and they want to do the same thing here. I'm like, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind?
I'm with you.
Mamdani is the copy. He's a carbon copy of Khomeini when he came into power. These people are polite when they don't have power. When they take power, they're going to take our lives, kick them out. I don't care if they're citizens. They got to go through a lie detector test. Hey, do you support Sharia law? And if they fail their lie detector test, kick them out. I don't care if they were
I
born
am
here.
so with you on so many levels. PJ, I appreciate the call, man. You're welcome to call into the show anytime you want. Thank you for the insight. All right, so Donald Trump, they're saying, is going to be addressing the nation at 10 o'clock Central. We will carry that live immediately following the address with President Trump. I think we're going to have Monty Fritz joining the show. So we'll work out those details behind the scenes. But when President Trump speaks live on the war with Iran, we will bring it to you live right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 9:59 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. We got a lot of updates for you. I want to talk about terror attacks in this country, sleeper cells, and the possibility for that. Well, I want to talk about the world's reaction to what we saw over the weekend as well. But momentarily, we are waiting for Donald Trump to address the nation on Iran, and we will be bringing that to you live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I was talking to Mason behind the scenes, and we've all had a bit of computer issues here when it comes to the live stream. But I said to Mason, I said, do we want to run the video on the YouTube? And Mason said, well, won't make anything worse. So we'll have the video for you as well of the comments from the president on our YouTube channel and on your radio at Super Talk 99.7 WTN on YouTube. Don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe. Right now it is 10 o'clock. Joan Jones standing by with the headlines, which we will interrupt should the president begin speaking on Super Talk.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and President Trump is set to address Iran at the White House at this hour. It'll happen as he is also set to take part in a Medal of Honor ceremony. Now, the moment he steps in, as Chris says, will break, and we'll go right to the White House for his comments about Iran. In the news, 4 service members have died, the death toll rising overnight as one of the people who was injured initially in a strike on Kuwait has since died. More on what's happening on the ground with ABC News.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Sherry Preston. This morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, President Trump will address the U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran from the White House. The Iranian Red Crescent says over 500 Iranians have been killed so far. 4 American service members killed in an Iranian strike. General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, says,
"We expect to take additional losses, and as always, we will work to minimize U.S. losses."
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth also speaking at the Pentagon this morning.
This is not a so-called regime change war, but the regime sure did change, and the world is better off for it.
President Trump has said the military operations could take several weeks. In the first day of trading since the attacks began, stock markets are opening down. Oil prices rising sharply, up around 8%. Experts say gas prices in the U.S. could push over $3 a gallon soon. This is ABC News.
By the way, 15 U.S. aircraft have left military bases in southern Spain today after its foreign minister said that Spain will not allow the U.S. to operate from its military bases. They are jointly operated by the U.S. and Spain, but they are under Spanish sovereignty. Britain also had initially refused to allow the U.S. the use of its bases for an attack on Iran. But on Sunday, Prime Minister Keir Starmer authorized their use for what he called collective self-defense. Now, in local news, parts of Robertson Road in Madison were closed overnight after a horrific crash. WSMV4's Danielle Ledbetter.
This happened just after midnight on Robinson Road in Madison. Officials say a woman went down a 4-lane road the wrong way and slammed head-on into a semi-truck.
That woman in the van died at the scene. And in Springfield, another head-on crash. Smoky Bar News reporting that an SUV and a Walmart tractor-trailer collided yesterday afternoon on 5th Avenue at Smith Street. A woman and a child were injured in that crash. That is the latest news. We've got your weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 10:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, you get those at betterwater.com. We are patiently awaiting the President of the United States. He's going to be addressing the war with Iran at any moment. And we are patiently waiting that. We're going to be having it for you live here on your radio. And we'll have the video as well live on Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble. This is one of those moments where I do think the video, it gives you more. You know, what's the body language like? What's the energy like? I think that all of those things play into it. So it's one of those times where I think the video is just massively important. We are waiting for the president to join in on that address any moment. It does look like they're waiting for him to walk through the door. Members of the cabinet look like they're coming in now, so we'll be jumping into that momentarily. In the meantime, crazy stuff over the weekend in Austin, Texas. Excuse me. And I think this is one of the biggest fears when it comes to war with Iran is terror attacks. We do know that the FBI is investigating a mass shooting at an Austin, Texas bar as a potential act of terrorism. This individual was wearing a sweatshirt that had Allah on it. He was wearing a T-shirt underneath that sweatshirt that had the Iranian flag on his shirt. It was a packed bar in Austin, and this man from Senegal wearing a Property of Allah hoodie and possibly out for vengeance after the U.S. attack on Iran opened fire. Crazed Texas shooter, what's his name? Nidiga Diagan. I'm butchering that, but he's 53. He's from Senegal. He arrived in the U.S. in the year 2000, and he was on a tourist visa during the Clinton administration. He became a lawful permanent resident when he married a U.S. citizen in 2006. A source familiar with his immigration history told the Post. He then became a naturalized citizen under Barack Obama. It was Sunday, early morning Sunday, when he opened fire on this bar in Texas. He had a Quran in his car. He was also wearing an undershirt with the Iranian flag and other Iranian symbols when he opened fire on Buford's backyard beer garden near the University of Texas Austin campus, according to sources familiar with the situation. Law enforcement knew him as an emotionally disturbed person in both New York and Texas before the rampage. He also had a string of previous arrests under his belts in New York and Texas, sources said, including a 2022 arrest in the Lone Star State for collision with vehicle damage. So this guy was known to officials, and they still let him do his thing. This is an issue. This is one that we're going to have to pay attention to. I don't think this is going to be the last terror attack that we see, and it's scary to think about. It's scary to think about, but that's the reality of a Joe Biden open border. How many millions of people did we let in? How many of them were terrorists? How many sleeper cells do we have operating in this country? These are real questions that need to ask. Fox News was talking about the shooting over the weekend. Oh, hang on one second. I got too many things running at the same time. Will you pull me down there for a second and pull me back up? This is Fox News talking about the shooting.
Finding out per multiple federal law enforcement sources to our own Bill Maloogian, the Austin mass shooter is a 53-year-old naturalized U.S. citizen who was born in Senegal and was living in Pflugerville, Texas. Material recovered from his person and inside the vehicle give possible indications of a nexus to terrorism, as the FBI announced earlier today. And remember what we said he had in his possession and was also wearing. The shooter was wearing clothing that said Allah on it. His sweater said Property of Allah, and there's also known to be an undershirt with an Iranian flag and other materials inside. And remember what?
This is going to keep happening. I do fear. Like that's out of all of this, I think that is the greatest threat to the American public are these either lone wolves or sleeper cells that could be playing a role in our communities in the very near future. The Fox News reporting on sleeper cells has been widely reported for many years, but the reporting continues. They put out an article over the weekend, said American counterterrorism agencies are quietly monitoring suspected sleeper cells on U.S. soil. in the wake of the joint U.S.-Israel strikes on Iran, stepping up surveillance amid heightened fears of possible retaliation from Iranian-linked operatives or sympathizers, which is, I think the latter is what we saw over the weekend in Austin, Texas. Federal and local law enforcement have also boosted on-the-ground security in major U.S. cities as part of a precautionary posture, even though no specific credible threats have been publicly identified. The move comes on the heels of a Saturday morning operation dubbed Operation Epic Fury that resulted in the death of Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and several senior Iranian officials in a coordinated U.S.-Israeli military campaign. The campaign is not over. It is going to be going on. Hegseth said this morning that it looks like it's going to be about 4 weeks. The press conference with Hegseth is the first of many to come. We are waiting the president to address the Iran situation at the White House any moment. We're going to break into coverage with that live. Hegseth this morning was absolutely dropping some fire when it came to what we saw in Iran over the weekend. And this was Hegseth, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth this morning.
If you kill Americans, if you threaten Americans anywhere on earth, we will hunt you down without apology and without hesitation, and we will kill you.
Just ice cold. I mean, the guy's coming out, he's just dropping straight facts. He's not mincing his words. He also told the left and the fake news, essentially, screw off. This is not another forever war. This has been the conversation on the internet. I've seen a lot of trending topics. Have you seen how it's trending? People are trending it as, it's Operation Epic Fury, but people are saying Operation APAC Fury, Operation Epstein Fury. Hegseth essentially pushing back against that narrative.
To the media outlets and political left screaming endless wars, stop. This is not Iraq. This is not endless. I was there for both. Our generation knows better, and so does this president. He called the last 20 years of nation-building wars dumb, and he's right. This is the opposite. This operation is a clear, devastating, decisive mission. Destroy the missile threat, destroy the Navy, no nukes. Israel has clear missions as well, for which we are grateful. Capable partners, as we've said since the beginning, capable partners are good partners. Unlike so many of our traditional allies who wring their hands and clutch their pearls, hemming and hawing about the use of force.
That's Hegseth just saying to the media, it's not an endless war, saying to the leftists, saying to the panicans, this is not that. Only time will tell. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. They can say that today, but we're going to need time to be able to look at this operation in hindsight and really determine its effectiveness and see what the secondary measures are after that attack over the weekend. But Hegseth kept going, saying that the globalists and international law in front of millions, saying, to the globalists, kick rocks, the hemming, the hawing. We're not putting up with that anymore in America.
Hawing about the use of force. America, regardless of what so-called international institutions say, is unleashing the most lethal and precise air power campaign in history. B-2s, fighters, drones, missiles, and of course, classified effects. All on our terms, with maximum authorities. No stupid rules of engagement, no nation-building quagmire, no democracy-building exercise, no politically correct wars. We fight to win, and we don't waste time or lives.
Now, however you may feel about the operation currently, it is rather nice to see a president not tiptoe around. And I think with all that you could say about where this goes, the speculation about how this ends, one thing is for sure, Donald Trump went in there and handled business. He didn't tiptoe around. He didn't let the Ayatollah continue his reign of terror. He said, no, enough is enough. You're gone. You had weeks to negotiate. You chose not to. Congratulations. You signed your own death certificate. And then to take out other top leaders in the military and inside their government in one fell swoop. This is a very different president than we've seen in the past. let's not kid ourselves. Name another president the last 40 or so years that would have done something as quickly and effectively as Donald Trump did over the weekend. Now, who knows how this plays out? Only time will tell. But as it stands right now, it looks pretty good for the administration. Pete Hegseth said the conflict in Iran will end only when Donald Trump decides that it is time to end the conflict in Iran.
Peace through strength, the warrior ethos, lethality, unity of purpose, those are not slogans. They're the beating heart of what it means to wear the uniform, that uniform. You think clearly under fire, you act decisively in chaos, you uphold the Constitution, and you uphold our country without hesitation. We are not defenders anymore. We are warriors, trained to kill the enemy and break their will. History is watching. Be the force you swore an oath to be, focused, disciplined, lethal, and unbreakable. We will finish this on America First conditions of President Trump's choosing. Nobody else's, as it should be.
That was Pete Hegseth this morning in his press conference. We're awaiting Donald Trump addressing the nation. I think it's probably a good opportunity to stop down real quick, hit these commercials so we won't have a massive backlog when the president joins us for the remarks that we are awaiting. So we'll stop down real quick. Should the president begin speaking, we'll cut a commercial off halfway through. So don't go anywhere and join us over on YouTube. We'll have the video of this address to the nation live right here for you on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're awaiting the president's remarks on the war with Iran, and we'll bring them to you live right here on Super Talk when they do kick off. In the meantime, I want to talk about my friends at United Structural Systems. A couple weeks ago, Winter Storm Fern left a lot of Tennessee families dealing with damage that doesn't always show up right away. There was a lot of ice, but that ice melts and it turns into flooding. That flooding creates waterlogged soil. Then we went through the freeze-thaw cycles that can quietly compromise a home's foundation. This is exactly when you need United Structural Systems. For more than 30 years, USS has helped homeowners across Middle Tennessee repair the foundation damage caused by storms and severe weather. They're not offering quick fixes. They're offering custom solutions because your home is too important to gamble with. What really sets USS apart is their commitment to the community. They support local schools, neighborhoods, and organizations like Habitat for Humanity. This month, the USS is going to be taking part in their 10th Habitat for Humanity build. They're going to be framing and installing roof trusses in Ashland City, helping a family rebuild on solid ground. That's service. That's integrity. That's USS. If your home has a foundation issue after severe weather, choose a company that stands with Tennessee families. Choose United Structural Systems. 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855. Always online, USSTN.com.
Up ahead, President Trump is right now hosting a Medal of Honor ceremony at the White House as we await his remarks on Iran. And we're standing by. We've got that coming up here 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. It does seem like they're taking a little bit of time coming out for this press conference. And as we're monitoring the situation, we'll have the video for you live on Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble. But I'm looking at it. It's like the first 4 rows of seats have not even been taken yet. So I think we have some time before the president addresses the nation. At least that's how it looks to me. I could be wrong. He could walk out any moment, and you'll see a mad dash and a scurry for those front row seats. But it looks like, I would imagine, after 10:30 at this point, that we'll hear from the president. I could be wrong. I'm open. I'm open to the fact that I could be wrong. But we'll bring you that here live as soon as it begins. In the meantime, Pete Hegseth and General Dan Raising Cane, they gave a press conference this morning, and Pete Hegseth adamant that this is not a regime change war, which is what a lot of individuals have been calling it online. Pete Hegseth says, no, it is not that. Make no mistakes.
Iran was building powerful missiles and drones to create a conventional shield for their nuclear blackmail ambitions. Let me say that again. A conventional shield for their nuclear blackmail ambitions. Our bases, our people, our allies, all in their crosshairs. Iran had a conventional gun to our head as they tried to lie their way to a nuclear bomb. It almost worked under Obama and his terrible deal, but not under this president. Turns out the regime who chanted death to America and death to Israel was gifted death from America and death from Israel. This is not a so-called regime change war, but the regime sure did change.
Not a regime change war, but the regime has changed. I think that you can make the argument that the entire game has changed after the actions we saw Donald Trump take over the weekend. Pete Hegseth delivered a message to the warriors, to the troops as well during this press conference. The message, keep going, no slowing down, no brakes on this train.
May Almighty God watch over you and his providential arms of protection extend over you. Godspeed, warriors, and keep going.
I love it, man. I do, and I love the fact that you can still feel that religion is playing a huge impact on this administration, and I'm a big fan of that. General Dan Cane revealed Iran is getting torched right now. This was Dan Cane earlier this morning, Raising Cane, if you will. Check this out.
The full strength of America's armed forces came together in a unified purpose against a capable and determined adversary. The United States Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, Space Force, Coast Guard, and our reserve components integrated across our combatant commands and began coordinated operations with the Israeli armed forces of an unprecedented scale. As the Secretary laid out, our military objectives are clear. Our mission is to protect and defend ourselves and, together with our regional partners, prevent Iran from the ability to project power outside of its borders and be ready for follow-on actions as appropriate. Across every domain, land, air, sea, cyber, the U.S. Joint Force delivered synchronized and layered effects designed to disrupt, degrade, deny, and destroy Iran's ability to conduct and sustain combat operations. On the U.S. side, this marked the culmination of months and in some cases years of deliberate planning and refinement against this particular target set. From precision strikes against key military infrastructure to persistent intelligence and targeting integration to the close coordination of the components across vast distances, this operation again demonstrated America's reach, readiness, and professionalism, and that of our joint united force. It was historic not only in the operational scope, but in the level of joint integration displayed across every element of the joint force. And as I said earlier, this work is just beginning and will continue.
That was Dan Kane this morning across every domain, land, air, sea, cyber. The U.S. Joint Force delivered synchronized, layered effects designed to disrupt, degrade, deny, and destroy Iran's ability to conduct and sustain combat operations. And it does seem like they are just lashing out like a wounded animal at this point with their missile launches, with the drone strikes, and more. But when you hear Dan Kane break it all down, yeah, this was organized, this was effective, this was lethal, this was quick. Land, air, sea, cyber. And I keep going back to the cyber elements of it. You know, you heard Pete Hegseth say that they had some top secret weapons that they used during this. But on the cyber front, they hacked the Iranian TVs. So that way Donald Trump's address after the attack would be aired in Iran. It was absolutely unbelievable watching the military do what the military does. We'll see what this looks like in 2 weeks, 6 months, a year. And I pray that we don't have a prolonged conflict. But I think that Donald Trump has earned the right to grace and space in this arena. If any other president deserves it, it is Donald Trump. What he's been able to do as our commander-in-chief, the way he's been able to thread the needle on so many different occasions, how can you not give him grace and space right now? Pete Hegseth, he was on fire this morning. And he kept just delivering hammer after hammer. At one point, a reporter asked, what are we sending our men and women for, to war for? Will this be a longer conflict? At which point, Hegseth doubled down and said, did you not hear what I said? Let me make this very clear. This is not going to be a long-standing quagmire.
And one for Chairman Kane as well. I understand, to your point here, that you don't want to broadcast everything for our adversaries to hear, but the American people also want to know what they're sending their men and women to war for. Is there a concern of this spiraling into a longer war? And then one for the chairman when you're done.
Did you not hear my remarks? I mean, we're ensuring the mission gets accomplished, but we are very clear-eyed, as the president has been, unlike other presidents, about the foolish policies of the past that recklessly pulled us in to things that were not tethered to actual clear objectives. So we know we have plans, we have generals, we have chairmen, we have commanders, CENTCOM commanders, Admiral Cooper, who's executing very deliberately to ensure outcomes that I laid out are accomplished. But we would never, in front of a press pool, lay out how long that may take. The mission for our warfighters, which is what matters to us, is very, very clear. And they're executing it right now violently.
I just love the posture coming from the White House. At the end of the day, whether you agree with this conflict or not, these guys just have spines of steel. And the way they're dealing with the press, the way they're approaching this, it does make me confident that this is going to end relatively quickly. There have been timelines floated, a couple weeks, 4 weeks. We'll see what it looks like. But as of right now, we're awaiting statements from the President of the United States. He should be breaking in here any moment. We're going to stop down. We're going to do some news. But when the President starts talking, you'll hear it first on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And while we await President Trump approaching the microphone at the White House this morning, some news. Bret Baier at Fox News said he had a phone conversation with the leader of the free world a short time ago.
I just got off the phone with the president. He is very pleased with how things are going. Obviously, is disheartened about the loss of life, and there may be more, he said, along the way. But as far as the progress, he said they are ahead of where they thought they would be. I want to read some of these quotes. The level of intelligence that they've had up until this point is truly amazing. I asked, so what you're saying is that you know there is somebody on the ground in Iran that is going to rise up. Quote, yeah, I feel there is. I feel that, and some of them are no longer with us, to be honest, because it was 49 leaders that were taken out. That was going to take 4 weeks, we thought, to get rid of the Iranian leadership.
Yeah, Yes, moving quickly, as he says. Meantime, the FBI has joined in the search for answers for the mass shooting at an Austin, Texas bar over the weekend and its possible nexus to terrorism.
Witnesses tell police that a man in an SUV pulled up to a bar on Austin's popular West 6th Street, turned on his hazard lights, and opened fire with a handgun on people sitting on the patio. He then circled the block, got out, and came down the sidewalk with an assault-style rifle.
Officers were coming toward him, and at the intersection, he was shot, and he was killed.
But not before. Police Chief Lisa Davis says 2 bar patrons were killed and 14 were wounded, 3 of them critically. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
That is the latest news. We've got your forecast ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And they got some great deals to save you big money right now. You can always trust my friends at Busy Bee. They're my HVAC guys. They need to be yours as well. I'm a proud Beehive Club member. You should be also. When storms hit Nashville, they don't mess around. Power outages, frozen lines, burst pipes. And what starts as a small issue can turn into a major home disaster fast. This is why you need to call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling before the next major storm rolls in. Right now, you can get 40% off a whole home surge protector with any electrical repair. You can also get $500 off select whole home water repipes. If freezing temps have already done a number on your plumbing, this is the deal for you. Fix it the right way now before a small leak becomes an expensive flood. And if you're still dealing with that stubborn clog, ask my guys about the 93 or free residential mainline special. If they can't clear it, you don't pay for it. Simple as that. This winter, stay safe, stay warm, stay ahead of the damage. Visit busybeehvac.com or call 615-775-7833. That's 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com. Also, just an update, we are going to be joining live with the president's comments momentarily. Members of the cabinet are starting to walk in. Susie Wiles has made an appearance. So these remarks with Trump and the war with Iran will be happening momentarily. We are going to break into the commercial breaks and bring it to you live. So stick with us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
And companies are keeping track of your data, who you are, where you live, what you buy. But
It's 1037 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. We are starting to see a lot of people file in to where are they? Where are they doing this speech? They're doing it somewhere in the White House. I don't know the exact room. Do you know the exact room that they're doing it in? It's not the ballroom. Not the ballroom. But we're seeing those front chairs get filled in during this press conference. If you're watching us on Super Talk TV, you'll see the video up there as well. We're working to upgrade the computers on Super Talk TV. That should be happening this week. They say that the setup we're going to get is going to be massive. But I was talking with Mason. You know, we think this is worth the risk to put the video up in case the stream crashes. Susie Wiles inside this arena. She doesn't look like she slept a bit, but I would imagine many members of the Trump administration had a sleepless weekend as they were dealing with this. We had Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago all weekend long. Feels like that's his cozy place when he's launching these operations, is to be down at Mar-a-Lago. So we're awaiting the entrance of the president. We'll bring you this press conference in real time as it happens here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It seems like we are just moments away from the president entering in. We have had a lot of reaction coming out from the left and the right in the mainstream media on this attack in Iran. Senator Rick Scott, who many people think should actually be the Senate Majority Leader, not John Thune. Rick Scott, just 100% complimentary of the president in light of this operation. This was Rick Scott over the weekend on with Maria Bartiromo on Fox News. Listen to this.
President Trump for having the guts to do this. This is what other presidents had not been willing to do. I know the objective is to stop their short and medium-range missiles. If we didn't, our troops, our servicemen and women would have been at risk all throughout the Middle East, including our ally Israel. So what we're doing is the right thing to do. You'd like to, I'm glad that Khomeini's gone. The Ayatollah is gone. The world's a safer place. You hate to want death for somebody, but he has caused so much death and destruction. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to continue to hammer the living daylights out of them. So will Israel. Hopefully our allies in the Middle East will join in. Our allies in Europe should join in. We're making the world a safer place. But we're going to finish this. And if we don't, we'll be doing this in 5 years and 10 years. I've talked to Secretary Rubio. The Iranian negotiators were stubborn. They were arrogant. They had no interest in giving up any of their weapons. They wanted to continue to enrich nuclear weapons. They wanted to continue to build missiles. They were building about 100 missiles a month. They've got an unbelievable stockpile. So the right things are happening. And I hope to God that we're able to finish this and we end up with a country that could be an ally.
Wouldn't that be a dream scenario if Iran became a country in the region that's another ally? It would be an absolute feather in the cap of Donald Trump should that happen. But a lot of the reaction isn't as glowingly positive as Senator Rick Scott. One Jasmine Crockett, who is going to be dealing with her own primary this week, the Democrat primary for the Senate. That's going to be held this week. She was making appearances on all weekend long. She was on MS Now. This was Jasmine Crockett's take on the Iran situation.
And right now, what we are clearly witnessing is lawlessness yet again from this administration. And my question to my colleagues in a very serious way is, will you put aside your loyalty to this orange man and actually focus on your loyalty and your oath to the Constitution?
Will you put aside your loyalty to this orange man? Does anybody take Jasmine Crockett serious? It's not going to be a shocker should James Tallarico come from behind and steal that Democrat nominee for Senate in the state of Texas. It wouldn't shock me. She's not serious at all. Kamala Harris also weighed in. She condemned the strikes. On X, she posted, Donald Trump is dragging the United States into a war with that the American people do not want. Let me be clear. I am opposed to regime change war with Iran, and our troops are being put in harm's way for the sake of Trump's war of choice. And then she posted a full statement. I think it's pretty fair to say that Kamala Harris wouldn't be handling this situation any better than the current commander-in-chief, and I think that that's an understatement. Rand Paul, Republican senator, also disapproves. Rand Paul weighing in on X and saying, he said, I have sympathy for the plight of the Iranian people and all subjected people around the globe, from North Korea to Tibet. But as Adams wrote, America goes not abroad in search of monsters to destroy. She is the well-wisher to the freedom and independence of all. She is the champion and vindicator of her own. The Constitution conferred the power to declare or initiate war to Congress for a reason, to make war less likely. He said, as with all war, my first and purest instinct is to wish American soldiers safety and success in their mission, but my oath of office is the Constitution, so with studied care, I must oppose another presidential war. It's funny, you see Rand Paul talking crap, but Senator John Fetterman is actually on our side, and Senator John Fetterman really pushed back against the comments from Senator Rand Paul. Sometimes you feel like you're in bizarro world, where the Republican senator is pushing back against the administration and the Democrat senator is with the administration.
Kentucky, Republican Senator Rand Paul posted, the Constitution conferred the power to declare or initiate war to Congress for a reason, to make war less likely. My oath of office is to the Constitution. So with studied care, I must oppose another presidential war. So just to be clear, it doesn't concern you that President Trump launched these strikes. I understand that he came to the so-called Gang of Eight, the leadership and members of the Intelligence Committee. But more broadly, if these strikes continue, you don't think Congress should have a role?
First of all, who does Rand Paul agree with? He doesn't even agree with Republicans. He voted against them too now. So I don't follow him, and I don't really use his kinds of insights in all of it.
Just an absolute flamethrower of a jab from Senator Fetterman. Who does Rand Paul agree with? Who does anybody know who Rand Paul agrees with? No, nobody really knows. Fetterman continues.
So what happened yesterday was incredibly successful. And now Iran was trying to acquire a nuclear bomb, and they have the kinds of missile technology that could inflict significant damage in Israel and our American forces as well, too. Here we were. They refused to negotiate. They refused to change a different way forward. And I fully support that. And now if you talk about the War Powers Act, that wasn't broken. Now, so that's the conversation that we're now. And I don't understand why we can't just say, thank God, no, we weren't lost any soldiers.
Now, we did lose 4 soldiers, and God bless them, and prayers for their family. This was in the immediate aftermath of the attack, where the fog of war was still heavy. We weren't sure about casualties. But Fetterman, I mean, he's right, and it's crazy. If you had on your bingo card, President Trump would be elected president, we'd have a war with Iran, and we'd have a Democrat senator praising it and a Republican senator condemning it, you probably wouldn't have made that bet. Yet here we are. I do want to update you. We are waiting for President Trump to address the nation on Iran at the White House. There's a Medal of Honor ceremony that's going to be taking place. We are monitoring that situation. All of the front row seats have filled up. It does look like the president is going to be making his appearance here at any moment. We've been saying that for a few moments, but the room does appear to be full now. So I would imagine that the president is going to be making his entrance here shortly. We'll be carrying it for you live here on Super Talk 99.7 on your radio side, as well as the video will be hosted on YouTube and Rumble. So make sure you're joining us over there. Just search 99.7 WTN on YouTube and Rumble. Should you want to see the video elements of this press conference, I think that you do. I think body language and delivery, you get a much clearer picture of how the president feels about something when you get to see him. So join us on YouTube, join us on Rumble, hit like and subscribe while you're there. Senator Fetterman continued. He did, they're pushing this this illegality. The naysayers, it was illegal. But Fetterman said, no. The War Powers Act was followed. They conferred with the Gang of Eight. Nothing illegal happened. This was Fetterman continuing his comments on CNN. This was on Fox News, continuing those comments, though, over the weekend.
And it's not necessary, honestly, the entire thing. It's really an empty gesture. There's not going to be any votes. But when you're not even breaking the War Powers Resolution, why are you even doing that?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and also, let's also be clear. I'm tired of seeing people, go on social media and saying we can never allow Iran to acquire a nuclear bomb, and Israel always deserves insecurity, and they deserve to exist. Well,
that was John Fetterman's remarks. We'll bring those back here to the top momentarily. The president has just entered the room. We're going to be joining that press conference live now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
50 years. From its birth in the wilderness to this very hour, we come to you now with grateful hearts. We assemble here today to honor men who, when the test came, were steadfast and unmovable. We thank you for the unyielding conviction of Master Sergeant Roderick Edmonds, who looked evil in the eyes and did not flinch. And we thank you for the battlefield grit of Command Sergeant Major Terry Richardson, courage that saved lives in Vietnam and courage that stands before us today. And Lord, we thank you for Staff Sergeant Michael Allis, who, in a final selfless act, made his own body a shield for a friend. Bless the family and friends of these great men of honor, O Lord, and forbid that we leave this place as mere admirers of their heroic deeds. Plant in our hearts a measure of their courage, that we might prove worthy of the freedom for which they and generations before them defended. And Lord, now let the light of liberty continue to shine on our great nation. We pray in the strong name of the one who guides us. This will defend. Amen.
Amen. That was the prayer there. You heard the names mentioned of the honorees of the Medal of Honor ceremony, and now the President of the United States.
Appreciate it. And thank everybody for being here, and please feel free to sit. So before we begin this important ceremony, and there's no ceremony that can be much more important than this, let me provide a brief update on Operation Epic Fury. Today, the United States military continues to carry out large-scale combat operations in Iran to eliminate the grave threats posed to America by this terrible terrorist regime. Following our obliteration of Iran's nuclear program in Operation Midnight Hammer a short while ago, we warned Iran not to make any attempt to rebuild at a different location because they were unable to use the ones that we so powerfully blew up. But they ignored those warnings and refused to cease their pursuit of nuclear weapons. In addition, the regime's conventional ballistic missile program was growing rapidly and dramatically, and this posed a very clear, colossal threat to America and our forces stationed overseas. The regime already had missiles capable of hitting Europe and our bases, both local and overseas, and would soon have had missiles capable of reaching our beautiful America. The purpose of this fast-growing missile program was to shield their nuclear weapon development and make it extraordinarily difficult for anyone to stop them from making these highly forbidden by us nuclear weapons. We were the ones that were complaining. We were the ones that wanted it stopped. But everybody was behind us. They just didn't have the courage to say so. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be an intolerable threat to the Middle East, but also to the American people, our country itself. would be under threat, and it was very nearly under threat. I was very proud to have knocked out the Iran nuclear deal by President Barack Hussein Obama. That was a horrible, horrible, dangerous document. They would have had nuclear weapons 3 years ago, and they would have used them. But I'll not let that happen. For almost 47 years, this regime has been attacking the United States and killing Americans. Every time you see someone with missing arms and legs or a face that's been absolutely shattered violently, it was almost certainly caused by an Iran roadside bomb. They were put there by General Soleimani, who was the father of the roadside bomb. Very proudly, he thought, but I terminated him in my first term. This was our last best chance to strike what we're doing right now and eliminate the intolerable threats posed by this sick and sinister regime. And they are indeed sick and sinister. Our objectives are clear. First, we're destroying Iran's missile capabilities, and you see that happening on an hourly basis, and their capacity to produce brand new ones, and pretty good ones they make. Second, we're annihilating their Navy. We've knocked out already 10 ships. They're at the bottom of the sea. Third, we're ensuring that the world's #1 sponsor of terror can never obtain a nuclear weapon. Never going to have a nuclear weapon. I said that from the beginning. They're never going to have a nuclear weapon. They were on the road to getting one legitimately through a deal that was signed foolishly by our country. And finally, we're ensuring that the Iranian regime cannot continue to arm, fund, and direct terrorist armies outside of their borders. And we thought we had a deal, but then they backed out. And they came back, and we thought we had a deal, and they backed out. I said, you can't deal with these people. You got to do it the right way. Today, we grieve for the 4 heroic American service members who have been killed in action and send our love and support to their families. In their memory, we continue this mission with ferocious, unyielding resolve to crush the threat this terrorist regime poses to the American people, and a threat indeed it is. We have the strongest and most powerful, by far, military in the world, and we will easily prevail. We're already substantially ahead of our time projections, but whatever the time is, it's okay. Whatever it takes, we will always, and we have right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks, but we have capability to go far longer than that. We'll do it. Whatever somebody said today, they said, oh, well, the president wants to do it really quickly. After that, he'll get bored. I don't get bored. There's nothing boring about this. Do you agree with that, Pete? I don't think there's anything, Mr. General. I think there's nothing boring about it. Somebody actually said from the media, I think he'll get bored after about a week or two. No, we don't get bored. I never get bored. If I got bored, I wouldn't be standing here right now. I guarantee you that, to go through what I had to go through. We also projected 4 weeks to terminate the military leadership, and as you know, that was done in about an hour, so we're ahead of schedule there by a lot. But please join me in thanking every American service member who bravely is standing in harm's way. They really are incredible, and I just want to thank you. We have a lot of them right here. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. We have a lot of great service members here with us, too, in this beautiful building. Isn't it beautiful? We're adding on to the building a little bit. We're improving the building. See that nice drape? When that comes down, right now you see a very, very deep hole. But in about a year and a half from now, you're going to see a very, very beautiful building. And there's your entrance to it right there. In fact, it looks so nice, I think I'll save money on the doors, because it can't get more beautiful than that. I picked those drapes in my first term. I always like gold, but I think we can save a lot of money. I just saved curtains. But and it'll be spectacular. It'll be the most beautiful ballroom. I believe it's because I built many a ballroom. I believe it's going to be the most beautiful ballroom anywhere in the world. And when you hear all that hammering out there, you know why the First Lady is not thrilled exactly. She said, will the pile drivers ever stop? You know, they go from 6 in the morning till 11:30 in the evening. Can you imagine? Here? You know what? To me, that's a beautiful sound. She doesn't like it. I love it. You know what? To me, other than here, because we're donating it, not a penny to the taxpayer. It'll be under budget, ahead of schedule. It'll be $400 million or less. Most people say $400 million or more. No, it'll be less. But when I hear that sound, that beautiful sound behind me, it means money, so I like it. But my wife isn't thrilled. She said, this is getting crazy. I said, don't worry about it. We'll be all finished up in a few months. But now for the reason that we're gathered this morning to
So Donald Trump is pivoting out of the Iranian remarks to the Medal of Honor ceremony. We'll bring you the highlights from that. Should they be, statements that you want to hear, and we'll bring you any other items that come out of this event momentarily. But the big takeaways that I had, we warned Iran on nukes. They didn't listen. Everyone backed us, but they didn't have the courage that we had. He took a jab at Barack Obama more than once on the Iran nuclear deal. He talked about roadside bombs and the injured veterans that we have in our country, blaming those directly on Iran. He said we got 4 objectives in Iran: destroy missile capabilities, annihilate their navy, no nukes, and ensuring the regime doesn't continue to fund and arm terrorists. One of the statements that he said was ferocious, unyielding resolve. That stood out to me. He said 4 to 5 weeks is their initial estimate of how long this will take. Says he can go longer. Said that members of the press said, don't worry, the president's going to get bored. He says, I don't get bored. He said that they predicted it would take him about 4 weeks to take out Iran's military leadership. Under budget, ahead of schedule. It took him about an hour. About an hour. We'll bring you more comments from inside this Medal of Honor ceremony. It does seem like he's pivoting away from the Iranian remarks, but should anything else come to the surface, we'll bring it for you here first on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Drivers, we've got road work and only one lane is open, 24 eastbound through Jolton. That's a 21-minute delay. Stop and go starts at the Harper Road overpass. And then at Talbot's Corner, got a crash blocking the left two lanes, 65 southbound right before the northern split. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Operation Epic Fury remains an active U.S.-Israeli military campaign targeting Iran's security infrastructure, missile sites, leadership assets. And President Trump, moments ago.
Right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks, but we have capability to go far longer than that. We'll do it.
Major combat operations ongoing as CENTCOM reports continued strikes across multiple regions in Iran. U.S. forces have suffered casualties. 4 service members confirmed killed, several others wounded. Iran has retaliated with missile attacks on Israeli and U.S. targets across the Middle East, expanding the regional conflict. Here in Nashville, Metro Police say a woman was killed overnight in a head-on crash in Old Hickory. Investigators report she was driving the wrong way on Robinson Road when she hit a tractor-trailer just after midnight. She died at the scene. The westbound side of Robinson Road was shut down for several hours. Metro Police say a woman faces charges after a violent attack on a Nashville school bus. Investigators report 36-year-old Shanita James forced her way onto the bus as a fight between kids was already underway. They say James joined in, striking a student, dragging that student down the aisle before the group continued the assault. The injured student taken to the hospital. James now charged with assault and burglary of a motor vehicle. And Tennessee lawmakers pushing a bill that would ban companies from using personalized algorithmic pricing. This proposal targets pricing systems that adjust what you pay based on your personal data. House Democratic Caucus Chair John Ray Clemens telling Channel 4.
What this legislation would actually do is, for the first time in Tennessee, is prohibit personalized algorithmic pricing, saying that companies aren't allowed to use your personal data to try to optimize their profits.
Yeah, supporters say the move would protect consumers from unfair, secretive price changes. Clemens says he's got bipartisan support. If approved, the ban would take effect July 1st of this year. And that's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's 11:09. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to the show anywhere. iHeart, TuneIn, the FM dial. You can watch us as well. Super Talk TV is up and running on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble. And we're just putting videos back up today. Is that what we're doing? I feel like that's what we're doing.
I'm not against that. Let's do it.
I feel like we should do it until we break it completely.
Yeah, until everything collapses.
And then they'll be forced to install the new computer a lot sooner.
Maybe.
A lot of reaction coming in from the operation over the weekend. Donald Trump is still holding his Medal of Honor ceremony at the White House amid the ongoing war with Iran. It does seem like his comments on Iran have concluded, and now he's just focused on the heroes that are in attendance that deserve their time in the spotlight 100%. I'm looking forward to seeing what the news is on the heroes that we had over the weekend. There's sure to be many, many stories of bravery and heroism coming out of that operation that will be divulged to the public in a matter of days or weeks, and I'm looking forward to hearing those stories as well. A lot of reaction coming from the left and the right. On the left, Democrat Senator Mark Warner, who is the vice chairman of the Intelligence Committee, said, it's probably a good thing we got rid of the Ayatollah.
I will be the first to acknowledge having the supreme leader and other major leaders of the Iranian regime eliminated is good for the region, good for the world.
But, and there is always a but with these Democrats, it's the timing that he has an issue with. The problem is that Trump took action this weekend and not back in January. You can't make this up. This is an actual critique of the president and Operation Epic Fury.
Ironically, Dana, if the president had chosen to take one of these actions back in early January, when the Iranian people were on the streets in the millions, you could make a case because that might have nudged the regime into dramatic change. He couldn't make that choice because the aircraft carrier that would have assisted that operation was off the coast of Venezuela at that point, and our allies in the region, in Europe in particular, who would have been helping us make that choice in January, were very focused on the president's, crazy folly around Greenland. So the fact that he has chosen now, why now?
Why now? Why now, Mr. President? Why couldn't you do it back when you didn't have the military assets in place? I think the answer would be we didn't have the military assets in place. Well, but why couldn't you do it when our allies were all concerned about Greenland? I don't know. Did we really need any allies besides Israel on this? The issue is that it was done now and not in January. Okay. I mean, if that's the critique that we're getting out of the Democrat Party, they don't have a leg to stand on. And I think everybody understands that. Britt Hume was on Fox News over the weekend saying that the Democrats have essentially painted themselves into a corner on this. And he thinks that while the public reaction is going to be favorable, the Democrats are kind of trapped.
The public reaction is likely to be favorable. And I think these Democrats are kind of trapped because they exist in a party whose membership overwhelmingly despises Donald Trump. It's been called Trump derangement syndrome, and there's something to that. And the result is that these Democrats, with rare exceptions, John Fetterman today, of course, was the one we just heard from, are opposed to this because they feel they must be, that they feel their job in life is to resist and oppose Donald Trump in every way, almost no matter what he does.
Orange man bad.
I think that accounts for the political reaction on the Democratic side here. Now, over time, those who are critical may feel vindicated if things start to go badly, but if they don't, they're going to be stuck with this. They're going to be the people that it will be argued didn't want to take this evil Iranian regime down. If the Iranian machine goes down and things turn out well in Iran, that will be a burden around their necks.
I mean, Britt Hume essentially saying what we've been saying all morning. It looks good right now, but time will tell. And there are a lot of Democrats standing on their soapboxes trying to find any reason to oppose Donald Trump because orange man bad. And that's great. That's kind of what we expected. But you're gonna have to wear that should this turn out really well for Iran. Now, there's a possibility that it doesn't, and we all understand the nature of the Middle East and how this could turn into a potential quagmire, and there's some actual fear there, and I understand that. But when you're seeing the Democrats scraping and reaching for talking points like, gee whiz, sure wish you had done this in January when we didn't have the military assets in the region, like that's a joke. And then on MSNBC, I almost dead named them. I don't mean to dead name. We don't dead name on the Chris Hand Show. It's MS Now. Over on MS Now over the weekend, they too were scraping and clawing to grab onto anything and say, this is why he did it. This is why the orange man did this. And they actually figured it out a lot quicker than you did, you stupid racist. The MS Now figured out that the only reason Donald Trump did this was because they're going to be putting a Trump Tower in Tehran. Yeah, it's going to be the nicest one. It's going to be all gold. It's going to be beautiful.
You know, it feels like this is an opportunity to follow the money. There is a lot of very rigorous oversight that we need to do in addition to the war powers vote. And even the fact that we are questioning, did Donald Trump make this decision in the interest of U.S. national security, or did he make this decision in the interest of his own family's business interests, should be enough that we should all be very, very concerned about these business dealings that he's doing, because we should know without a doubt that our commander-in-chief, our president, even if we disagree with the decision, is making decisions solely about whether or not this is in the U.S.'s national interest.
Trump Tower to Tehran confirmed. It's happening. It's going to be the nicest Trump Tower. Is this real? Is this what they're doing on MS Now? That they're just going to say Donald Trump did this to get rich.
Just a get rich scheme.
It's one of those get rich quick schemes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a pyramid scheme, but not in.
Yeah, well, it's 100% a pyramid scheme. What you do is you take out the top of the pyramid, and now you're the top of the pyramid.
Easy.
100%.
You got to have support beneath you, so you got to span out.
They're going to have to, and you could be part. You could get it on the ground level of the Trump Tower, Tehran. Like they actually did this. Like, I wish this was AI. I wish this was parody. Donald Trump this is his get rich quick scheme. You know that, right? Everybody knows that. Donald Trump only bombed Tehran to enrich his family. He only got rid of the Ayatollah to enrich the Trump dynasty. Clearly, obviously. Anybody that thinks different, they're just idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. Even when potential new Iranian leadership is already trying to reach out to Iran. Maybe they're like, hey, we have some good real estate for you to plant that Trump Tower. This is actually happening. You have Iranian leadership, new Iranian leadership, reaching out to the president. They were discussing this on Fox News over the weekend.
Just got a message from a senior White House official who tells Fox News President Trump said new potential leadership in Iran has indicated they want to talk, and eventually he will talk. For now, Operation Epic Fury continues unabated.
I'll talk when I want to. We'll talk when you have the nice site picked out for Trump Tower in Tehran. Is that maybe that's what they're saying? I don't know who's going to be the next leader of Iran. I don't think anybody knows. Some people are saying Ayatollah Arafi was appointed as acting Iranian supreme leader. I don't know if that's true or not, or if that's fog of war stuff. But if that is true, this is another hardlined conservative loyalist to the guardianship of the Islamic jurist system. He advocates for politically engaged clergy, strict adherence to Sharia and governance, revolutionary principles. If that is the new leader, it doesn't seem like much is going to change, and they probably won't get that Trump Tower in Tehran. But when you listen to the Democrats just scratch and claw for any reason to be anti-Trump on this, it's a bit embarrassing, I think. That's just me. Scott Jennings spent his weekend fighting with liberals on the talking head networks, and Scott Jennings was doing what Scott Jennings does, just absolutely smacking these people down.
It is going to have some impact on the economy of China, because that's where they get their oil, from Iran. And what we did in Venezuela, what we did in China, or what we did in Iran has as much to do with China, I think, as anything. I also want to say, may God rest the souls of those troops, but they died in a noble cause. And as Buddy said, 47 years, Americans are dead, the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world. I totally disagree with you about the threat not being imminent. I spoke to senior, very senior administration officials yesterday. They believe that the Iranian regime was about to fire ballistic missiles, not at the United States, but into U.S. military bases and civilian targets. They were going to attack Israel. They are already attacking other Gulf states.
You can't make the case back then. Apparatus has assessed that there was not an imminent threat.
I know. My guess is I've spoken to higher-ranking officials than you. On the uranium enrichment, the United States offered them free, unlimited, lifetime, civilian-grade nuclear fuel. They said no.
What an absolute savage Scott Jennings is. He looks at the liberal pundit on the panel and says, I would imagine that I've spoken to higher level administration officials than you. Excuse me, 911. I'd like to report a murder because Scott Jennings just killed her career, just in one fell swoop. And he says that they turned down free lifetime civilian nuclear. They turned it down. They wanted to keep building weapons. The administration was trying to negotiate with these hardliners. They didn't want to negotiate at all. And as the liberals push back, Scott says, no. Take a seat, please. Take a seat. I'm speaking. I'm speaking. We'll have more from the Iran-U.S. conflict, and we'll get some more statements from President Trump as he's holding this Medal of Honor ceremony amid the war with Iran, currently in the White House right now, bringing you all the latest right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Zero Res Nashville. So let me tell you about real life in my house right now. 4 kids, 2 dogs. Baseball season is going strong. And so that brings a lot of dirt coming through the front door. At certain points during the season, this happens more than once, I look at the carpets and think, we need backup stat. So that's when my wife or myself calls Zero Res. We like their whole approach. No harsh chemicals, no soap left behind, just the special ZR water cleaning system. It actually gets the carpets insanely clean. It helps them stay cleaner longer. Plus, as a dad, I like knowing it's safer for the kids and the dogs. It's definitely a Maha version of cleaning your home. And if you check the reviews, it's obvious that my wife and I are not the only ones impressed. Thousands of families around Nashville are using these guys, and right now is the perfect time to do it. Spring is coming, and it's a great way to get the house fresh again. Call my friends at Zero Res today, 615-535-9376, 615-535-9376. Ask them about their 2- and 3-room specials. Zero Res, a smarter, lasting, clean. ZeroResNashville.com.
All right, drivers, if your travels take you through Jolton and it's eastbound 24, there's only one lane open right there at Whites Creek Pike. That is for road work. That is a 15-minute delay. It is day 3 of Operation Epic Fury. We'll give you an update and some of the president's latest comments coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. Mason Fleming is producing. You guys on the phone lines and the text line, 615-737-9986. I also see you guys popping off in the YouTube chat. Hit like and subscribe if you're there. Quite a few people on the text line said that Trump went off the rails when he started talking about the curtains. I just thought this was me, and maybe I'm just watching it as like a radio guy, but I thought that he needed to pivot out of his Iran discussion and into the Medal of Honor ceremony, and he pivoted out by talking about the curtains. I didn't think that he was going off the rails necessarily. I think that he was just trying to shift the conversation. I could be wrong. Maybe he was just going off the rails. He probably didn't get much sleep this weekend, and quite a few of you on the text line have been referencing this clip that has been going viral over the weekend.
They out here saying America did illegal strikes on Iran. Guys, the strikes aren't illegal. They're just undocumented. It's okay.
It's not illegal strikes. They're just undocumented strikes. That's fine. That's fine. Everybody understands. It's not illegal. It's just undocumented.
They out here saying America did illegal strikes on Iran. Guys, the strikes aren't illegal. They're just undocumented. It's okay.
It's okay. 615-737-9986. Let's go to Deb on the road. Deb, how are you today?
Doing great. Happy Monday to you guys.
Happy Monday. Your thoughts on what you're seeing in Iran?
I just wanted to backtrack a little bit to where I don't remember who the moron was that was talking about how he should have done this operation in January.
That would have been Mark Warner, and he said that was his only critique, that they should have done it in January.
You know, ironically, Dana, if the president had chosen to take one of these actions back in early January, when the Iranian people were on the streets in the millions, you could make a case because that might have nudged the regime into dramatic change.
I feel like we had dramatic change over the weekend for the regime, don't you?
Oh, I think so, in a very definitely good way. But regardless of the fact that the military assets were not available, can you imagine the exploding heads on the left if he had carried that operation out in January with all of those citizens on the streets protesting and 90% of them getting killed?
It's actually a great point. Yeah, they would have lambasted him for that as well and said you took out innocent civilians.
They clearly do not pay attention to the words coming out of their mouths, but
no, and it just highlights the Democrats' ability to oppose him no matter what. They're always going to find a reason to oppose him.
Exactly. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yep, I'm with you, Deb, and I appreciate your call. 615-737-9986. Phone lines are open for you as well. Do we do the lightning round today or not? Do you think I got lightning round stories, but I feel like we could continue down the Iran stuff. I don't know. Do we do the lightning round?
We could bring in the lightning round.
I feel like we bring in the lightning round. But we continue taking your phone calls.
Yeah.
615-737-9986 as we kind of wrap up the show. We got about 30 minutes left. Any last-minute takes or thoughts that you want to get out about the Iran situation, you are more than welcome to deliver them. I'll give you the airtime, 615-737-9986, whether you are pro-strike, anti-strike, or just sitting in the middle and wondering what happens next. We want to hear from you, and we'll be back momentarily. Right now, the headlines with my man Ken Weaver on Super Talk.
$11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and we've got the full forecast in 5 minutes. It is day 3 of Operation Epic Fury, with large-scale coordinated U.S. and Israeli strikes that hit over 1,000 targets across Iran so far. U.S. Central Command confirms ongoing combat operations and multiple U.S. casualties, of which President Trump acknowledged during this morning's Medal of Honor ceremony.
Today we grieve for the 4 heroic American service members who have been killed in action and send our love and support to their families. In their memory, we continue this mission with ferocious, unyielding resolve to crush the threat this terrorist regime poses to the American people, and a threat indeed it is.
Americans urged to stay attentive to developing information as the situation continues to unfold. ABC News Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas explains the FBI continued their investigation into that mass shooting in Austin, Texas, early Sunday morning they believe could have been triggered by the U.S.-led strikes on Iran.
Sources tell me that in addition to wearing a T-shirt with the Iranian flag, the FBI has also recovered evidence suggesting that the suspects supported Iranian leadership and the regime's ideology. If true, this is precisely the kind of assault that U.S. law enforcement is most worried about at this time.
Meanwhile, Iranian Americans in Nashville gathered at Bicentennial Capitol Mall State Park this weekend to celebrate the U.S.-Israeli strikes inside Iran. Fox 17 was there.
Iranian Americans in Nashville described the U.S.'s mission into Iran as surreal.
We could not even think that this will happen in less than 24 hours for them to take over and kill 40 top leaders of the Iranian regime. So I'm so speechless and just so happy to be living in today.
We've been asking for this help for pretty much 50 years and we never got it. And we got it. And in a matter of 10 hours.
Hope for change is now closer than it's been in decades for Iranians who fled a regime they say was run through oppression and murder, especially in the last 2 months.
Now, across town, you had anti-war protesters condemning the attack, arguing the U.S. should avoid further military action. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's 11:37 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. We will do the lightning round. I got a lot of texts. People said, don't skip the lightning round. Whatever you do, don't skip the lightning round. So I won't skip it. In fact, I got one story in the lightning round that may disappoint soccer fans everywhere. Disappointed me.
Don't tell Chad.
I might have to tell him. Real quick, though, I want to run through some of these phone calls. Let's go to Jack in the Borough. What's up, Jack? How are you?
I'm doing good. You won't find somebody to oppose the attack in Iran?
Yeah.
Talk to your buddy Chad Benson. I don't know. I'm trying to really understand that man, but I haven't yet. But anyway, thank you, Chris, for what you've done. I tell you what, it's so good to have a good Christian man. I've been listening to this station for over 3 decades, and I will continue on. So Godspeed, brother.
I appreciate you, Jack. Godspeed to you too, sir. And nobody's going to agree on everything, and I don't know what Chad's take is on anything. Chad will tell you his take on things. But I got a text earlier, and somebody was like, I don't know. We're always getting haters texting in, but somebody said, Chris, does it make you mad that Charlie stopped supporting Israel right before he was murdered? And it's like, first of all, that's up for debate. I don't know if Charlie stopped supporting Israel right before he was murdered. I do know that I read the letter that he sent to Benjamin Netanyahu, which was one of the big talking points, saying that he did stop supporting Israel before he was murdered. And if you read that letter that he sent to Benjamin Netanyahu, that was published by the New York Post, it paints a completely different topic. Put that aside for a second. Put the Israel question aside for a second. Do you agree with any one person on everything? Does anybody? Like, I'll get these texts a lot, and it's like, do you think you're bludgeoning me with that? Because I don't think that you realize it's not the weapon you think it is. Like, I love my wife to death. We don't agree on everything. Mason's pretty okay. We don't agree on everything.
You know, you're just all right too, Chris. I appreciate that.
But you know what I mean? Like, this is not the weapon against me you think it is. And I also said to that texter, I said, call in. Have we gotten a call from him yet? No, we have not. Weird. Let's go to Gary in Springfield. Real quick, Gary, what do you got?
2 things. One, I think being a retired veteran that Hegseth did a great job, just the way it's supposed to be all the time. Don't mess with us, we'll knock you out. The other is that Iran, Omar, I sent it through the super text, her dad led the massacre of 200,000 Christians in Somaliland. You
Facts.
got Somalia,
yep,
and then you got Somaliland. Boy, I tell you, that's a real stellar family.
You're not lying. She's an absolute mess, and I appreciate the call, Gary. Ilhan Omar should be kissing the ground that she walks on. To be able to come from a war-torn country and then rise to Congresswoman of the United States, she should be singing the praises of this country every single day. She doesn't. Weird. Rick in Columbia, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, Rick?
We bomb Iran. Bomb, yeah, we bombed Iran. To start an evil plan. Yes, we bombed Iran. Bomb Iran. Our fellas in hell with his evil clan. We bomb Iran. USA. Thank you, Chris.
Hey, thank you, Rick. I don't always want to be serenaded by grown men, but sometimes I'll allow it. Sometimes I'll allow it. All right, got time for one more call, then we'll jump into the lightning round. Bill in Tracy City. What's up, Bill?
Yes, I was just trying to figure out how either a coalition of Israelis and or Americans are going to be able to find a temporary ruler that can do a decent job until they are able to hold elections over there. This is an unusual situation, almost like the Hamas situation or Hezbollah or the Houthis, whatever, that Israel's having to deal with. These people have been trained from childhood to hate, and their whole goal in life is to destroy either the United States or Israel. So there's a lot of those people left. There may be a couple million of them, I don't know. But you're going to have to eliminate those people and their whole families, really, because they are a cult and they're a mafia, and they will pop up. It's like hitting the spider's nest. You get the spider and then some of the other spiders in the middle of the nest, but they spread out immediately everywhere. So you're going to have to really diligently worldwide come back and take these people out. And now is the best time to do it. I don't know if that can be done by air power alone.
Yeah, well, listen, I hear you. I don't think I'm going to support boots on the ground. And I think if we've learned anything from this weekend operation is that we don't necessarily need boots on the ground. I mean, they took out, 49 of their leaders, including the Ayatollah. Like, do you think boots on the ground is the only way to resolve this?
No, not. I mean, you'll have to create situations where you can get people, civilians, if you will, to combat whatever's remaining of the leadership, and all, the religious leadership is part of that, is all entwined with the political leadership and the Republican Guard, even the local police. All these people are going to have to be taken out, and it's almost, and you might be able to do it with the technology using drones and so forth, just to keep them in their place, but somehow to get the civilians armed in a way that they can take on what's left of them.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine, and I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate the call, Bill. I would imagine that there is a plan to get the civilians armed. And I think that you are a bit naive if you didn't think that during those protests there wasn't already CIA and Mossad operatives on the ground. So I think that that's baked into the cake. President Trump had them hack the Iranian television systems so that way his address was broadcasted on every TV in Iran after Operation Epic Fury kicked off. And during that address, he said it's now up to the people to take their country back. That being said, I do want to jump into the lightning round, which starts right now.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
We do it every day at this time. All the stories that wouldn't fill a whole segment, stories that other people might not be talking about, and stories that we didn't want to not mention before we ran out of time. We like to call it the lightning round. First story in the lightning round. Are you ready for this? And I know it's going to disappoint a lot of people. I don't think the gayest soccer match in World Cup history is going to happen anymore.
What?
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Pride Night was coming.
Yeah.
And it was going to be in Seattle. And it was going to be Egypt versus Iran. And it was going to be the gayest soccer match ever.
Oh, yeah.
Stunning and brave.
Something.
Well, in light of the recent attacks, it looks like the gayest soccer game ever may not be taking place.
You right to jail.
Head of Iran's Soccer Federation doubts country will play in 2026 World Cup due to the strikes. I feel like that's an easy out. They just didn't want to play in the Pride game.
Just didn't want to lose.
You didn't want to lose to Egypt. They say, do not expect to see the Iranian national soccer team at the 2026 World Cup. That, according to the head of Iranian Soccer Federation, who cast doubt on his team making an appearance after the U.S.-Israeli strikes against Iran, which began this weekend. What is certain is that after this attack, we cannot be expected to look forward to the World Cup with hope. Mehdi Taj told sports portal Varsej 3. U.S. and Israeli forces began striking the Iranian capital of Tehran and other vital government installations in the surrounding areas on Saturday. The Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei was killed in the opening round of strikes. They said Iran has been drawn in Group G at the World Cup and is scheduled to play in Los Angeles, where it faces New Zealand and Belgium on June 15th and 21st, respectively, before it plays Egypt in Seattle on June 26th. It was the one on June 26th against Egypt in Seattle that was going to be the gayest soccer match ever. I feel like they're just trying to get out of playing in the gayest soccer match ever, and this is a way that they can do it and save face.
Nice little slip through.
You know what I mean? That way they don't get... Last thing they want to be accused of is being bigots.
What?
Like, terrorists, that's one thing. But don't you call me no homophobe. That's where they draw the line in Iran.
They have standards.
They do. They have a bar. Okay? And you can call them terrorists, but don't you dare call them homophobes.
Watch yourself.
Watch it. Get another story for you here in the lightning round. Elon Musk announced this. This is pretty exciting. Are you going to Vegas anytime soon? This month, especially? They're celebrating the fact that they're digging out the BNA hole in Nashville by giving Tennesseans who are in Las Vegas in March a free ride on the Vegas Loop. No ticket needed. Just show your valid Tennessee driver's license at any station attendant and hop in. They want people to get all lubed up and excited for the BNA hole. That's what they're doing.
Lubing up, huh?
Lubing it up and getting people excited.
Lubing up for the tube.
Lubing it up. The BNA hole. Also, I'm sure you've all heard Ken Weaver in his news reports refer to it as the Music City Loop. Join me in admonishing him and reminding him via the text line every time he says it that we call it the BNA hole around here. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Got another story for you here in the lightning round. Dude, this one's a doozy. I'll tell you what. And I don't want this to get lost in the headlines with Iran. El Mencho, remember they took out El Mencho, the narco-terrorist leader?
Another one.
Yep. Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Too soon, maybe?
So they took out El Mencho. We're waiting for another one. But just El Mencho so far.
Okay.
Do you know what El Mencho had?
What do you have?
Detailed records showing bribes paid to Mexican authorities. Bro, is this your first narco-terrorist organization you've ever ran? What are you doing? First you get caught, like sloppy agape there. Then you wrote down who you bribed? Brother, I've never run a narco-terrorist operation, all right? I think that's fair to say. And I'm sure there's some intricacies in there that El Mencho might have one up on me.
Yeah.
But one thing I would know from the jump not to do is write down the names of the authorities I bribed and how much I bribed them.
We got to keep track of that stuff.
No, you don't. No. What are you doing?
You got a guy offshore doing that stuff.
Unless you have an Orphan Annie decoder pin, you should not be writing down anything as the head of a cartel.
I was like, maybe you're just pretending to be dumb. Now I don't think it's an act.
The terrorist cartel leader known as El Mencho kept a series of detailed records that show that in the area where he was hiding out, he had several local police forces on his payroll, as well as state and federal investigators also working for him. The records provide additional information and evidence that further support numerous prior reports from Breitbart, Texas, about how El Mencho and his terrorist group, the cartel Jalisco New Generation, had been able to buy influence at all levels of Mexico's government. Bro, he printed it out. It was clean. It was super clean.
You think he laminated it?
I don't know, but he definitely 3-hole punched him and put him in a binder.
Easily.
I think, this is just me, and maybe this is a little bit too much inside baseball for you guys. I think El Mencho kept his bribes in better organizational standards than Dan Mandis keeps his library commercial copy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Truth.
They say the documents use a series of code names to avoid directly identifying individuals, but they do mention individuals within Mexico's Attorney General's office, as well as members of Mexico's military and state agencies. The documents help explain who El Mencho felt safe hiding out in a series of luxury cabins, as Breitbart Texas reported, had previously been identified by the U.S. Department of Treasury as being CJNG assets used for money laundering. The documents provide a glimpse of the finances required to control a small region by the CJNG. The terrorist organization is controlling presence in most of Mexico, and it is expected that similar payouts took place throughout the country. So, first rule of narco-terrorist leadership college, which they have colleges for that in Mexico, pretty sure. Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure that they have a esteemed university process before you don't just become a leader.
No.
You have to rise up through the ranks. You got to have a little bit of an education.
At least a 6-month course.
First rule should be don't write things down.
Yeah.
They broke the first rule. I could have done it way better.
Easy
money.
Easy.
I'd never get any opportunity. Nobody's ever said to me, would you like to run this narco-terrorist operation? I would at least sit down for the interview. And they would say,
Just hear 'em out.
Yeah. And they would probably ask a series of questions. One of them I would assume would be, do you plan on writing any of this down?
No.
No, I do not. They'd be like, dang, you're already better than the last guy.
You're on top right now.
It's 11:52. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 11:57, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. We got Mason Fleming producing, Ken Weaver's in the newsroom, Headless Bell's floating around back there, and Chad Benson's in studio.
What's up?
We spent a lot of time during the commercial break talking about El Mencho. And
meticulous in his keeping of records.
He kept the bribes. He kept the bribes organized.
It's good. Makes it easier. But he also, probably had passwords in there. Like, what if you couldn't get onto his thing and you need to get something? You had to know where everything is. If he wasn't around, who do you call? That's good, right? Like, he was organized. Now they're going to be disorganized.
Yeah. Oh, man. Who keeps the books now?
Nobody.
No.
That's it. They were just going to fly by the seat of pants. The guy's going to go, it's up here. It's in my head now.
Yeah. It's not a good look.
That is not a good look.
What are you talking about today? Any news tickling your fancy?
Probably talk a little bit about the war thing-ish. Whatever
the
it
war
is.
thing.
Not quite sure. It's war, but it's not war, but it's kind of war. Feels war-y. They say it's war-y.
It's war.
Yeah, it is.
It's war.
So we'll talk a bit about that,
When you kill the Ayatollah and 49 other military leaders, it feels like war.
It does. It does feel like war. So we'll talk a bit about that. We'll probably talk a bit about just do anything for the midterms. How long is this thing going to last? Plus, we'll talk a bit about just a bunch of other wacky stuff that happened over the weekend that's not so war-related. Because there's a lot of war. We don't need any more war.
I got a text on Sunday, and not a text, a tweet. Somebody tweeted at me and said, "No thoughts on Iran?" ? And then I had received a text message from one of my wife's friends early Saturday morning, like, "What does Chris think?" I was like, "Chris is taking the weekend."
That's what
Chris is not going to approach this until Sunday evening. Like, well, for starters, we got baseball to play.
Yes.
And then secondarily, everything is going to change here over the next 24 hours.
Yeah.
As that's kind of my thought process on Saturday.
Absolutely.
So, like, what good does it do me learning something that is going to be
cold
or just changed and updated? And so I waited until Sunday night before I even dove in.
Yeah. It doesn't mean you look and you say, okay, I see what's going on. And then we move on. And then you got to figure out, okay, we're going to be talking about this. Now what?
Yeah.
Now where do we go? What's going to happen? All that stuff.
The only thing that changed for me, which didn't really change anything, was it just made sure I had my sidearm on me, as I went out and about, because that's my only real fear right now is sleeper cells. And what does that look like as we zoom out from the bombing over the weekend?
Yeah, no doubt. No, it's going to be, this whole thing's going to be interesting. We'll see how we do. I mean, all these nations are in it now. Everybody's getting something. So is there a chance that this thing completely goes sideways in a way that we thought it was going to be three of us fighting, and all of a sudden now it's become several nations going at it?
Well, you got Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait. They're all jumping in,
Lebanon.
And they have our back. United Arab Emirates.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a coalition, and it's everybody versus Iran.
Yeah, because of because it's Shia and Sunni right there. It's a big deal. So we'll see what happens. What happens if everything goes sideways and all of a sudden now it's into Jordan, now it's into Egypt, that's the big fear, that it destabilizes those nations.
Something to pay attention to for sure. Chad's in next. It's 12:01. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.